We can store a lot of tension in our hips, which leads to all kinds of issues physically and emotionally. I'm Paula from Happy Yoga Wales, and this is a short yoga flow for the hips. It's suitable for absolutely everybody. So let's get started right away in a tabletop position. So bringing the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees under the hips. And then just feel the ground underneath you here for a minute. So really settle in, bring the shoulders away from the ears, take a big breath in. And exhale, sigh out of the mouth. And then just start to let the hips move around in little circles. So in this hip area, we have the sacral chakra, which is associated with passion, sensuality, playfulness, creativity. So on an energetic level, this is what we're focusing on. And hopefully it will just feel really good too. So just let those circles go in any way they want to, maybe letting that movement come up into the spine a little bit. And pressing into the fingertips here as well as the base of the index finger and the thumb. So we're not putting too much pressure into the wrists. Just taking a few more circles here. And then sending your right leg out to the side. You can either keep your left toes tucked or you can bring the foot flat to the ground. And we're going to send the hips back just as much as is comfortable. So getting a nice stretch through the inner thigh. You might feel this in the toes if you've got those left toes tucked. And then crawling the hands forwards if that feels good. If you want to bring your forehead down to the mat, you can do, or maybe pop a block underneath you here. It's quite a long way away. And then just breathing into the hips. And then lifting ourselves up. Stacking the hips above the knee, and then from here we're going to bring our right foot back round and come into our downward facing dog. So spread the fingers wide, exhale into your cat pose first, keeping the toes tucked under, lift the knees, lift the hips. And we're really focusing on the hips here, so don't worry if the knees are bent. So we're just lifting the hips up to the sky, nice long straight arms. And then bringing the armpits around towards each other so the upper back's nice and broad. So maybe swaying the hips here, pedaling the feet. And keeping all your focus on this hip area. Maybe even setting some kind of intention for yourself today. So I am passionate, I am creative, I am playful, whatever works for you. Okay, and then from here we're going to bring our right foot forward, step it in between the hands and come into our runner's lunge. So you can let that back knee come down if you want to, or if you want a little bit more work, you can keep it lifted. And again, just moving into the hips here, swaying backwards and forwards, maybe side to side. And there's no rush here, so again, the sacral chakra is associated with sensuality. So can you move slowly through these positions and just explore it. And then stacking that front knee directly above the ankle, you might need to adjust a little bit here. And then pressing your way up into our Anjaneyasana. Draw the low belly in, so we're nice and long through the low back. You can stay here, or if you want to, increase this stretch by reaching the arms up overhead. Maybe even floating the right arm down. Find a little side bend here. And then inhaling back through center, bringing the hands down. So from here, I'm going to turn my back to you. You're going to turn your left foot towards the right side of the mat. And then your toes, your right toes, are going to go to the left side of the mat. So we're coming into our gate pose. Okay. So from here, reach the arms up. And then exhale, float the right arm down that leg. And if this is too much, you could just stay here with the hands on the hips, pressing the hips forwards. And then then embracing that sense of playfulness, we're going to take our left arm and then float it down to the ground, and then maybe let the right leg come on up for a little bit of extra strength here. So you can keep it down, maybe taking the arm up, lots of options. So again, being creative, being playful, finding what works for you here. And then draw the low belly in, press firmly into the left hip, and then come back round, and then find your low lunge again. And then bring your foot around to the outside of the hands, wiggle it back, and then just come into your child's pose, bring the knees out wide, big toes to touch, and then sink the heels, hips to heels, crawling the hands forwards, and rest the forehead down. Just taking 3 to 5 nice deep breaths here. Last big breath in. And bring a little smile to the lips as you exhale out the mouth. And then lifting the hips, coming back into that tabletop position. Maybe take another little wiggle here before we take that sequence on the other side. So you might notice any changes, or some changes from one side to the other. Okay, when you're ready, coming into our inner thigh stretch first. So taking the left leg out to the side, toes face forwards, and then sinking the hips back. So again, right toes can be tucked, or they can go so the top of the foot is flat to the ground. And crawling the hands forward just as much as is comfortable. And this side is much tighter for me. So just being aware of the differences from one side to the other as we move through this little sequence on this second side. And then inhaling as you lift the hips. Bring that foot back round to meet the right. And then spread the fingers wide, coming into our downward facing dog. Lift the hips nice and high. Again, maybe just take a minute here to pedal out the feet. You might even want to stretch the legs up towards the sky one at a time. Let the head be nice and heavy. And then when you're ready, step in that left foot in between the hands, setting up for our runner's lunge. Back knee can come down or stay lifted, your choice. And just finding a little bit of movement here. And stacking your front knee above the ankle, bring yourself up, find your Anjaneyasana, draw the low belly in. So we're bringing that front heel back, creating a little bit of energy here. Either staying here or inhaling the arms up. Maybe floating that left arm down, finding a little side bend. So we're really focusing on length through the right side of the body here. We're not just collapsing over to the left. And then from here, floating that hand down if it was lifted. And we're going to spin your back foot, so your right foot, out towards the left side of the mat. And then coming into our gate pose on the other side. So your left toes turn to face the side of your mat. Hips are square to the side of the mat too. And just draw that low belly in. Maybe reaching the arms up. And floating the left arm down, like straight leg. Relaxing the face, the jaw, the shoulders. And then floating that right arm down, coming into any variation of this little side plank pose. So I'm just up on my fingertips here. You can go down flat palmed if you prefer. But really focusing on the hips here. So using the strength of the hips, maybe picking up that left leg. Or maybe just staying here, getting a nice stretch. So not worrying too much what this looks like, just focusing on how it feels. And then draw the low belly in, pressing firmly into this supporting leg, coming all the way back up. Nice. And then spinning yourself back round, finding our low lunge, just to transition, wiggling that front foot round. And then finding our child's pose one more time. So bringing the big toes together, sink the hips back, reach the hands forward and set the head down. And just take a few breaths here. And again, maybe saying that intention. I am playful, I am creative, I am passionate. And then when you're ready, walking the hands back towards the hips, lifting the head and coming into a seat. Wow, thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this short yoga flow for the hips and the sacral chakra. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. And wherever you are, please let me know how it went for you by leaving a comment down below. And make sure you head over to happyyoga.wales where there's lots of stuff going on in the near future. And I'll see you next time on the mats.